Key one, Stoic you might think that wealth and power automatically bring freedom, while poverty and oppression take it away. But history tells a different, more profound story, one that challenges our assumptions. Take Epictetus, for example, a Greek slave in the Roman Empire. His life was marked by suffering, poverty, physical abuse, and exile. By all measures, he should have been powerless. And yet, he became one of the freest, most influential philosophers who ever lived. Epictetus didn't write books himself. His lectures were recorded by his students, and they survived to shape generations of thinkers, including even the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. I first came across Epictetus in my late teens, much like Marcus Aurelius did 2,000 years earlier. A simple book recommendation changed my perspective on life, just as it did for Marcus, who credits his mentor Rusticus with introducing him to Epictetus' teachings. It's fascinating how a single piece of advice can completely alter the course of a person's life. Epictetus understood that true freedom doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from knowing what is within your control and what is not. He divided life into two categories: things we can control and things we cannot. True power, he taught, lies in focusing on the former, our thoughts, our choices, and our reactions. Imagine an athlete. They can't control the referee's calls, the weather, or how their opponent plays. But they can control how they prepare, how they respond, and how they engage in the game. The same principle applies to all of us. When we waste energy on things beyond our control, we weaken ourselves. But when we focus on what we can influence, that's where true freedom lies. For Epictetus, this wasn't just philosophical, it was about survival. Born a slave, he couldn't control his master or his fate, but he could control how he responded to his circumstances. He could have given in to anger, despair, or bitterness, but instead, he chose to cultivate his mind. By doing so, he found a form of freedom that his oppressors could never take away. One of Epictetus' most radical ideas was that suffering often doesn't come from external events, but from our judgments about them. It's not the situation that makes us miserable, but how we interpret it. If we obsess over things we can't change, we trap ourselves in frustration. But if we let go of these judgments and focus on what we can control, we free ourselves. This philosophy isn't just theoretical, it's incredibly practical. Every day, we're bombarded with news, opinions, and distractions. But do we really need to form an opinion on every issue? Do we need to invest our emotional energy in things beyond our control? Epictetus would say no. True freedom comes from focusing on what truly matters, the things we can change. During his time in Nero's court, Epictetus witnessed firsthand how wealth and power could enslave the mind. Although he was technically a slave, he saw men of great power and wealth who were, in many ways, more enslaved than he was. They were shackled by their ambitions, fears, and dependencies. He watched them grovel for favor, cling to their fortunes, and suffer anxiety despite their riches. He came to a shocking realization. He wouldn't trade places with them, even if it meant starving. In the end, freedom isn't about what you own or your status in society. It's about how you perceive the world and how you choose to respond to it. Epictetus proved that even a man in chains can be freer than an emperor if he masters his own mind. So ask yourself, are you truly free? Or are you letting circumstances beyond your control dictate your peace of mind? Key 1. Stoics, it's easy to think that freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want, but let's take a closer look. Look at those who appear to have it all. Those seemingly successful, powerful, and self-made individuals. From the outside, they might look like the epitome of freedom, but if you dig a little deeper, you'll often find they are bound by invisible chains. Their lives are ruled by the next project, the next deal, or the constant need to satisfy others' expectations. True freedom isn't about being free to do anything in the moment. It's about being in control of your choices, not reacting to the endless pressures of external forces. Ask yourself, how free are you really? Are you fully in control of your time, or are you chasing after the next deadline or demand? For many, obligations like mortgages, the need to appease an audience, or the pressure of maintaining an image or career dictate every move. So, who's really in charge of your life? Are you making the choices, or are they being made for you? True freedom, as the Stoics would argue, is about recognizing when you are in control of your responses to life circumstances and when you're simply being swept away by forces beyond your control. It's not about escaping your responsibilities or circumstances, but about how you choose to show up and respond. Even those who seem to have all the freedom in the world might still feel trapped if their happiness is tied to external approval or uncontrollable factors. This is where Stoicism can offer profound wisdom. The ancient Stoics knew that we cannot always control the events of our lives, but we can choose how we react to them. And while Stoicism is invaluable, it's not the only tool in the toolbox. In today's world, there are other resources that can help us better understand and navigate our lives, such as therapy. Modern tools like BetterHelp allow us to connect with licensed professionals who can offer guidance and support, all from the comfort of home. Think of life as a play where you are the actor. You didn't write the script, and you didn't choose your role, but your job is to play your part as best as you can. Just like an actor has to deliver a performance regardless of what the director or other actors do, you too must perform your role to the best of your ability, regardless of the circumstances. Life is full of things we can't control. Our background, the challenges we face, the people we encounter, but we do control how we play the role we've been given. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming others or external circumstances for the lack of freedom we feel. But the Stoics teach us that every situation offers us two handles. You can choose the handle that focuses on what you've lost or what has been taken from you, or you can choose the handle that emphasizes the opportunity for growth, learning, and personal improvement. It's not about the situation itself, but how you choose to perceive and respond to it. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. He was faced with a difficult relationship with his brother, who wasn't his ideal companion. But rather than seeing this as a limitation or frustration, he saw it as an opportunity to grow. By focusing on how his brother's challenges could help him develop his own character, Marcus embraced the freedom to shape his response to the situation. We all face limitations, whether personal, financial, or emotional, but the Stoics remind us that freedom lies not in controlling everything around us, but in how we respond. Every situation in life, no matter how limiting it may seem, offers a choice. Focus on the obstacles or focus on the opportunities for growth. It's all about perspective. In a world that promotes conformity, where everyone seems to be competing for the same spots, Stoicism offers a refreshing take. Run your own race. Stop comparing yourself to others, and instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. As Epictetus said, you'll only win if you compete in the areas where the outcome is within your control. True freedom comes when you embrace your uniqueness and focus on self-improvement rather than trying to fit in or outperform others. In the words of Epictetus, it's not about conforming to external expectations, but about cultivating your inner self, your thoughts, your actions, and your character. When you stop playing someone else's game and start playing your own, you unlock a freedom that's truly yours. The world may pressure us to conform and compete, but as the Stoics remind us, the most profound freedom is in being unapologetically yourself. When you focus on your own journey, embracing the role you've been given and making the best of it, you gain a power that no external force can take away. You control how you show up, how you respond, and ultimately, how you live your life. And in that, true freedom resides. Key 1. Stoic life is a series of challenges we cannot avoid. Each of us will face moments of adversity, and no matter who we are or how privileged our circumstances may seem, difficulties will always arise. History teaches us that even those who seem favored by fortune, like Marcus Aurelius, are not exempt from hardship. His reign, despite his power and wealth, was marred by floods, plagues, coups, and personal health struggles. He couldn't escape the difficulties that life threw his way. What we do have control over, however, is how we approach adversity. The ancient philosopher Epictetus teaches that we are free to decide how to respond to challenges. When faced with hardship, he suggests we should see it as an opportunity for growth. Just like an athlete grows stronger through resistance training, we too become stronger through life struggles. Every challenge can serve as a stepping stone to resilience and strength. Instead of letting adversity break us, we have the power to transform it into something that makes us better. Resilience, Epictetus argues, is a form of freedom. We are free to rise above the circumstances that hurt us. For example, despite being a slave and enduring physical abuse that left him crippled, Epictetus chose to refuse the role of the victim. His mind remained free, even if his body was damaged. He understood that while physical injuries may be inevitable, the way we perceive them is a choice. Life isn't about avoiding pain or discomfort, but rather about how we handle the hardships that inevitably come our way. It's about shifting our perspective. Consider those who, after losing limbs or enduring other traumatic experiences, find a way to thrive. Instead of seeing their situation as an obstacle, they view it as an opportunity to grow in ways they never imagined. Many find a new purpose and drive, often becoming even more capable and determined than before. Their ability to rise above their circumstances is an inspiring testament to human strength. For those with disabilities or challenges, it's important to remember that adversity doesn't define you. It's how you choose to respond that does. Take people who have dyslexia, for example. What many perceive as a limitation becomes a unique advantage, forcing them to approach challenges differently and develop new skills. This shift in perspective turns what others might see as a burden into a superpower, enabling them to excel in ways they never would have imagined. Epictetus, who endured extreme hardship himself, would argue that we have the freedom to decide how we want to view life. We can choose to see what we've lost, or we can choose to focus on what we can still achieve in the face of adversity. His philosophy teaches that it's not the circumstances that matter, but how we respond to them. This mindset is about accepting life as it comes. It's not about resignation to suffering, but rather about embracing what is, knowing that it's part of the process of life. By accepting reality, we can find peace and strength in the face of difficulty. The challenge is to not resist what we cannot change, but to see it as an opportunity to grow. Death is the ultimate reality we all face. No matter our status, wealth, or health, it's the one certainty in life. But while we can't escape this fact, we can choose to use it as a tool for perspective. By meditating on the reality of mortality, we gain clarity and urgency in our lives. Epictetus encourages us to reflect on the impermanence of life, not to foster despair, but to motivate us to fully appreciate the present moment. This perspective allows us to embrace life with gratitude and make the most of every experience. The reality of mortality forces us to live with intention. We realize that the time we have is limited, and because of that, we become more present and engaged in the moments that matter. It's in this clarity that we find freedom. Freedom to live fully, to cherish what we have, and to embrace each day with purpose. This is the essence of resilience, not just surviving life's trials, but using them to become stronger and more purposeful. It's about choosing how to respond to the inevitable challenges, and in doing so, finding meaning and fulfillment despite adversity. This is the kind of freedom that makes us truly powerful.